One operator that I didn't mention in the last lecture is the remainder operator. And the reason for that is that the remainder operator has actually some special use cases, and so it deserves a lecture on its own. So what is the remainder operator? Well, as the name says, the remainder operator simply returns the remainder of a division. So let's check that out. So the remainder operator is this one. So the percentage sign. And so let's check what 5 remainder 2 is. And it is 1. So why is that? Let's say we divide 5 by 2. And so then we get 2.5. But if we took only the integer part, so only 2, then the result would be 2. Okay? So if we did the division only until the integer part, then that result would be 2, because 2 times 2 is 4, but then there would be the remainder of 1, right? Because 5 minus 4 is 1. So we can say that 5 is 2 times 2 plus 1. All right, and so this here is the remainder, and therefore 5 remainder 2 is 1. Well, let's try another one. Let's say 8 remainder 2, or 3 actually. And so now the remainder is 2. Okay, and if we did 8 divided by 3, then we would get this number here. But again, if we only took the integer part, so 2, then we would only end up with 6. So 2 times 3 is 6. So let's write that. 8 is 2 times 3. So this 3 here times 2 plus the remainder, which is 2. So 6 plus 2 is 8. And so 2 is that remainder. And therefore, that's the result that we get here from the remainder operation. All right. So maybe you're not yet familiar with this concept, and so I hope that it made sense. Now, one thing that is many times useful in programming is to check whether a certain number is even or odd. So even numbers are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on and so forth. And the odd numbers are all the others. So 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. So when is a number even? Well, it's even if it is divisible by 2. And divisible by 2 means that if we divide it by 2, the remainder is 0. So let's check that. So 6 is an even number, right? And so the remainder of dividing it by 2 is 0. And that's because dividing 6 by 2 is an integer number. So it's exactly 3. So 3 times 2, so this 2 here gives then 6. All right. But on the other hand, an even number is, for example, 7. All right. And so here we have the remainder as 1. And that's because 3 times 2 is 6. And then plus 1, which is the remainder, is 7 again. And so just like 5, which is also an odd number. Okay? And so now we can use that knowledge to check whether a certain number is even or not. So let's create a function is even, and a simple arrow function is perfect here. So if the remainder of n with 2 is equal 0, well then, of course, this will return true. And otherwise, it's going to return false. So when it's 1, then the result of this function will be false. So let's use this. Is even, let's try with 8, 23, and maybe, well, something else. Doesn't really matter. And so intuitively, we know that 8 is an even number, and so we get true. This one is an odd number and an even number, and therefore we get the correct results. Okay? And so, of course, this works to check if any number is divisible by any other number. All right? And whenever the result of the remainder operator is 0, then that means that the first number is completely divisible by the second one. And again, this is sometimes very important to know in programming. So let's see another example here involving our application. Not really in practical terms, but just to have some fun. So let's select all of the rows of our movements. So yeah, let's check the HTML here. So each of the movements is this row, so this element with this class. And so let's select all of them, and then we will paint them a little bit based on some conditions. So let's select all of these elements. So all. So that's dot, and then this class name. And so this here will return a node list. And so let's convert it to a real array. And for that, this time I'm going to use the spread operator. So I will spread all of these elements into this newly created array. And then on that array, I can immediately call for each. And so let's specify a callback function with the current element, which is the current row and the current index. All right. And now let's say that I wanted to color every second row of the movements. So all I have to do is to check if the current index is divisible by 2. So I, which will start at 0, then it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. So if I want to color every second row, then if I do this, then every second number will be divisible by 2, and every other second number will not. So I can just check if it's 0, and if it is, then I take the current row, take the style, and change the background color. And remember that we have to use camel case notation here. And let's change it to orange red. So just to make it a little bit fun. Okay. And actually, just like before, this here actually has to happen inside of a handler. So an event handler function, because this code here will execute right when we start our application. But then as we log in, we overwrite that with the deposits of the current user. And so let's again do that as we click here on this balance, just so that we have like any reference point. Okay. And now let's try this again. All right. And now as I click this label, well, like magic, every second row is now painted in orange red. So beautiful, right? Well, not really, but at least we know that our code worked. All right. Let's do another one. So now let's say that I want to paint every third row also in even another color. And so I do the remainder of 3. And each time it is equal to 0, then I do set this background color to blue. All right. And so this here will be at 0, 3, 6, 9, and so on and so forth. While this one here is going to be, as we already saw, at 0, 2, 4, 6, and so on. And you see that there's going to be some overlap here, but that's not a problem. Here we are missing the R. Give it a save, and just try it one more time. So this is just for fun, of course, but there could be real applications to this. So you see that now every third row is indeed blue. So really nice looking effect that we just created here. But yeah, it's just to illustrate really how the reminder works. So whenever you need to do something every nth time, so to say, so every nth time, then it is a good idea to use the remainder operator for that. So here, for example, every second time, every third time, but of course this might then depend on your specific need, maybe in your application. So this is how we use the remainder operator, yet another one in your toolbox now. And with that, let's go straight to the next video.